Bible says he sits on the circle of the earth. Is the earth really a circle? Well, it just so happens that I taught geometry for 15 years. There is no such thing as a circle. A circle does not exist except in imagination. It is because if it has any height at all, even the thickness of your ink, if you draw a circle on a piece of paper, your ink left behind has got a certain thickness to it. It is now a cylinder. Right? Technically, there is no such thing as a circle. It's an imaginary construct for geometry, and it's practical, and we use it all the time, but in reality, it doesn't exist. If it's got any height, the thickness of your pencil or pen, it's now a cylinder. I can dig a hole in my yard and show you the earth does have some depth. Okay? It is not a circle. We have dug holes all over. We actually have a post hole digger on the back of the tractor, don't we? Yeah. It's not, Daryl, you've been digging in the earth for years.
2,300 feet, I pushed for.
2,300 feet. It does have some depth. Therefore, it's not a circle. It might be a cylinder, but it's not a circle. Okay. An infinite number of circles can be drawn through any point on any sphere. I could pick a spot right here and draw circles this way, bigger ones, bigger ones, bigger ones. I could draw around this way. I could go this way, this way, this way. I could draw an infinite number of circles through any one point on a sphere. Is God sitting on the circle of the earth an obvious metaphor? Yes, it is. God could be sitting on one spot on a sphere, on a ball, and still be sitting on trillions of circles. Okay.
Kent Hovind is trying to make the point that Isaiah 40:22 is actually referring to a sphere, because a circle is purely imaginary. Hovind's argument has no merit. A circle is not imaginary, as claimed by Kent Hovind. Circles do exist. A circle is a geometric figure where all points on the same circumference are equidistant from the center and on the same plane. Hovind must know the real definition of a circle, since he claims to be an expert in geometry, having taught it for 15 years. He also must know that the real-world definition of a circle precludes the circle in Isaiah 40:22 from being a sphere. That seems to be why he has constructed a definition that a circle is non-existent in the real world and completely imaginary. Kent Hovind is saying that God used a word, circle, in Isaiah 40:22 that describes something that does not exist and is purely imaginary, to describe a supposedly spherical earth. Kent Hovind's definition of a circle means that a circle cannot simply be a circle. It must be something else, like a sphere or a cylinder. Kent Hovind is using clever sophistry to confuse the issue. Kent Hovind would probably agree that a cylinder is not a circle. So he must also agree that the face of the cylinder is a circle. The face of the cylinder exists. It can be touched and measured. It is not imaginary. The circle of the cylinder is a flat circular face just like the circle of the earth. Kent Hovind is not arguing that the circle of the earth in Isaiah 40:22 is a cylinder. Kent Hovind is instead arguing that in that passage the circle of the earth is a reference to a sphere. Kent Hovind is a geometry expert, and so he knows that a sphere cannot be a circle, because a circle requires all points to be on the same flat plane. Yet, Kent Hovind still argues that the circle in Isaiah 40:22 is a sphere. But God did not say he sits upon the sphere of the earth in Isaiah 40:22. God describes the flat circular face of the earth in Isaiah 40:22. A circle necessarily has a flat face. In geometry, a face is any of the individual flat surfaces of a solid object. A circular face must necessarily be flat. Since a sphere has no flat surfaces and hence no face, a sphere cannot be the circle of the earth referenced in Isaiah 40:22. Kent Hovind is also ignoring the context of the passage in Isaiah 40:22. Notice that the language in Isaiah 40:22 describes the circle of the earth. That means that the surface of the Earth is a circle. The surface of the Earth is a flat plane with the circumference equidistant from the center. Let us explain the phrase used in Isaiah 40:22 closely. God calls the Earth the circle. According to the pertinent part of the definition in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the is used as a function word to indicate that a following noun or noun equivalent is definite. So God is calling the Earth the circle to indicate that he is identifying the Earth as a particular circle. It is the Earth's particular circle. We know that because God follows with the words of the Earth, so the particular circle is being identified as of the Earth. What does of mean? The pertinent part of the definition in the Merriam-Webster dictionary for of states that it is used as a function word to indicate belonging or possessive relationship. That means that the circle mentioned in Isaiah 40:22 belongs to and is possessed by the Earth. The surface of the Earth is a circle. The Earth's surface is flat with all points on the same plane equidistant from the center. Thus, Isaiah 40:22 describes a particular circle that God sitteth upon. It is the Earth's circle. Isaiah 40:22 is not saying that the Earth is a sphere that looks like a circle when viewed from above as claimed by Kent Hovind. The passage is saying that the Earth's surface is, in fact, a circle, and it is that circle on the surface of the Earth upon which God sits. The circle in Isaiah 40:22 is of the Earth. In essence, it is the Earth's circle that God sits upon. A circle is not a globe. God is not sitting upon a spinning globe.
The experts at NASA, however, claim your common sense, everyday experience is false on all counts. To begin with, they say the Earth is not flat, but a big ball. Not stationary, but spinning around 19 miles per second. They say the Sun does not revolve around the Earth as it appears, but Earth revolves around the Sun. And the Sun is actually 400 times larger than the Moon and 400 times farther away. That's right. You can clearly see they're the same size and distance. You can see the Earth is flat. You can feel the Earth is stationary. But according to the gospel of modern astronomy, the Earth spins 1,038 miles per hour under your feet and revolves 67,108 miles per hour around the Sun. Copernicus calculated the Sun's distance from Earth to be 3,391,200 miles. The next century, Johannes Kepler decided it was actually 12,376,800 miles away. Isaac Newton once said, "It matters not whether we reckon it 28 or 54 million miles distant, for either would do just as well." How scientific.
Science!
Benjamin Martin calculated between 81 and 82 million miles. The Moon is actually a semi-transparent luminary and not the solid spherical desert planet that NASA would have us believe. In fact, it is likely that both the Sun and Moon are not densely physical at all, and are simply luminous flat disks able to pass by or through one another during eclipses. The Sun and Moon luminaries revolve around the Earth once every 24 hours for the Sun, and approximately 25 hours for the Moon, illuminating like spotlights the areas over which they pass. The Sun's annual journey from tropic to tropic, solstice to solstice, is what determines the length and character of days, nights, and seasons. What can be more common than the observation that, standing at one end of a long row of lampposts, those nearest to us seem to be the highest, and those farthest away the lowest. As we move along towards the opposite end of the series, those which we approach seem to get higher, and those we are leaving behind appear to gradually become lower. It is an ordinary effect of perspective for an object to appear lower and lower as the observer goes farther and farther away from it. Let anyone try the experiment. The apparently uprising surface of the Earth upon or over which it stands will converge to the angle which constitutes the vanishing point or the horizon, beyond which it will be invisible. Heliocentrists would have you believe the very opposite of what every human who has ever walked the Earth has seen with their own eyes. It is obvious to any child and sovereign-minded adult that the sun, moon, stars, and planets, every light in the sky above, revolves around the motionless Earth beneath our feet. It is also plain to see that the sun and moon are both approximately the same size and situated relatively close to Earth, not 400 times divergent and millions upon millions of miles away. To abandon your senses and everyday experience in favor of such unfounded science fiction fantasies is a fallacy of appeal to authority so extreme that it leaves the brainwashed believer impotent to trust his own natural instincts and forever thereafter chained to the fantastical explanations of astronomical charlatans.
Oh, hey kids, it's Mr. B and Banjo Bob.
Hey, kids!
And today we're going to learn about shapes. You know, there's so many different kinds of shapes. There's 2D shapes and there's 3D shapes.
But Mr. B, how do you tell the difference between a 2D shape and a 3D shape?
That's a great question, Bob. 2D means two-dimensional. Can you try saying that?
Happens that I taught geometry for 15 years.
Two-dimensional.
Very good, Bob.
Thank you.
Two-dimensional means the shape goes two ways. Take a look at this square. It goes two ways. It goes side to side, and it goes up and down. One way, two ways. This shape is two-dimensional.
There is no such thing as a circle.
Wow.
Now a 3D shape goes three ways. It also goes side to side. It goes down and up. And it also goes from back to front. Back to front. Another way to test if a shape is 2D or 3D is to see if it's flat. Because if it's flat, it's a 2D shape. Let's try the circle first.
There is no such thing as a circle.
Turn it over. Take a good look. That looks pretty flat to me. A circle must be a 2D shape.
That I taught geometry for 15 years. There is no such thing as a circle. No such thing as a circle.
Now let's try the sphere. Rotate it over. This sphere is still pretty puffy and full. It must be a 3D shape. We can further experiment with the flatness of a shape by doing the clapping test. Are you ready for that, Bob?
You bet.
Remember, if the shape is flat, it's a 2D shape, and you should still be able to clap. Now let's try the 3D shape. Oh no, the 3D shape is too puffy. It sticks out too much. I can't clap. Sorry, Bob. The music's over.
That I taught geometry for 15 years.
Oh.
If you're still not sure if a shape is 2D or 3D, there is one more way to test. But leave this one to me, because it's kind of dangerous, all right? It's called the sit test. Here's what's going to happen. Bob's going to put a shape behind me, and I'm going to sit down. If it's a 3D shape, I should be able to sit, because 3D shapes are full and they stick out. But if it's a 2D shape, I might be in some trouble. Are you ready, Bob? Give me the first shape.
Okay, Mr. B, here comes a sphere.
God could be sitting on one spot on a sphere, on a ball, and still be sitting on trillions of circles.
Oh, wow. no, a sphere must be a 3D shape. It sticks out 3 ways and keeps me off the ground. Ready when you are, Bob. Give me the last shape.
Okay, kids, let's try a triangle. Oh no! That definitely wasn't a 3D shape, Mr. B.
You're right, Bob. This was definitely a 2D shape. It only goes 2 ways. This way and this way, but it didn't come up, so I couldn't sit on it and I fell to the ground. It's so flat, I went down fast, Bob.